The most interesting new meta is coming up, the 2025 Championship Series Cup. This is going to be the first time that Pokemon Go ever done something like this. This is more in terms of a cup here that would be seen for like Sylph back in the day, where there are Pokemon not allowed and there are Pokemon types directly banned. And this is going to be a very interesting meta. And today we're going to take a look at how this meta is going to shift, which Pokemon you kind of want to play, and kind of generally on what the meta is going to look like. Because it's very important, this is also the meta for the next regional tournament. It's going to be the meta for the LAIC. And this is the first time that we have a limited meta for a regional official tournament. And so, yeah, hello and welcome to the new video. Today we will take a look at the meta for the 2025 Championship Series Cup. We have no top teams here today. I already looked at the top teams. It's going to be a separate video tomorrow. Definitely stay tuned for this one as well. But we're going to talk about Pokemon that you want to have, metas, how they're going to work, and generally a little bit more towards how this cup is going to be for, especially, of course, LAIC, but also for GO Battle League, because it's going to be the last real Great League Cup. Otherwise, we have another week where we have Ultra League, Master League, and I think Catch Cup, which is not ideal. So, if you haven't hit Legend yet, this might be the season or like the meta where you kind of want to hit Legend. And it's going to be an interesting meta. It's going to be a meta where certain Pokemon are really needed. Anyway, so what is the meta? We're going to have only Ice, Flying, Psychic, Ghost, and Dragon-type Pokemon eligible. What are not eligible are Legendary Pokemon, Mythical Pokemon, Shadow Pokemon, as well as Ultra Beast. All of those are not allowed. With Shadow Pokemon not being available, it's actually a very big step. That's a lot of Pokemon that kind of got cut out of it. The other ones, I think we kind of can all survive with, but Shadow Pokemon, actually a big portion of Pokemon got cut. So only non-Shadow Pokemon are allowed. But also Pokemon that are not allowed. A lot of Steel-type Pokemon here, like Homrich, Aegislash, Doublade, those Pokemon here are all not allowed. Alone Sandslash, Alone Sandshrew. We have the Galarian Corsair, which is not allowed, which would be mostly way too broken. Jellicent, Kingdra, the Lapras, as well as, the Alone Ninetales here. And so with that, a lot of Pokemon are not allowed, and this makes the meta quite complex. Alright, sorry, I got just interrupted. We gotta start over here again. We have the meta already. We're going to have Oranguru at the top spot. Oranguru is super important. This is the Pokemon that you want to have for this meta. This is going to be the most dominant Pokemon, and there's no doubt about this. This is going to be the one Pokemon that you're going to be able to fit into every slot, which I don't like. I am personally against Pokemon that don't have answers. I feel like they're kind of more making a meta. Yes, it makes it a bit safe because you can literally just use this Pokemon wherever. Because, let me show you real quick. Oranguru here against the current Championship Series meta. Like, I already, by the way, went through all of the top teams and I made everything towards it. I have a lot of intel towards the meta already. This looks kind of alright, right? Like, 15 wins and 16 losses doesn't look like crazy. If you see the losses, they're all very close. If you see the wins, they are also all very close, but like more towards the better side than the worst side. There are only those few here that are actually very tough, which is Wespequin, Bronzong, Metang, and that's basically it. And the issue is here as well, then other than Wespequin, you're going to be able to hit Bronzong for super effective damage if you have energy. You're able to hit Metang, Claydol, other Orangurus, all for super effective damage if you have a bit of extra energy already. And so as soon as you get an energy advantage, this Pokemon is going to be a bit more stronger. And so all of a sudden you see yourself in a spot where this thing here itself is just going to be tough to deal with. And in the two-shield scenario, we are all of a sudden are looking at 21 wins and 11 losses instead of what we just seen there. So imagine this Pokemon as your safe swap, and you're going to have a little bit of an energy advantage. You're going to have even a higher win rate there. So you're basically, it's impossible to really counter this Pokemon unless you're Wespequin. And I guess Raichu even takes super effective damage if you. Like, all the Pokemon that are going to beat you are Pokemon that are weak to Brutal Swing. That is kind of ridiculous. Here, Dragonair is neutral. You're going to have Terranair, which is neutral. Like, you hit all of those Pokemon still. Togekiss, I guess, can beat you, but it resists the Charge Boost set, but doesn't resist your Fast Move. And with the Trailblaze boosting your own Fast Move damage up, and you being able to take hits quite easily with this thing, you're still going to be able to do a lot of damage. And you might think, maybe there's some outside meta Pokemon that can deal with this thing here right now. Let's take a look at this. There's not. There is literally just not. The best outside meta Pokemon that you can deal with is Yanmega, which has Bug Bite, which can maybe farm it down, or Mothim. And if this is your answers, you know already that this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem here. I think Ledian actually has some potential in this meta, by the way. I don't have a team with it yet. Maybe I actually even see if I'm going to add a team towards it, because I think Ledian the thing is here as well, though the Pokemon that answered, like the bug type Pokemon, they're all bug flying, because bug types itself are not allowed, it's just flying type Pokemon that are allowed. Those are the Pokemon that can answer it, but again, here you have an 86% win rate. Like, you have 30 losses in the 2-shot scenario, and this doesn't factor in if you have an energy advantage by swapping into something. So that being said, Oranguru, you see already, is broken for this meta, which in my opinion is a bit of a bad thing. I don't really like it, but it is what it is. Tornado is a very good save-sub as well for this meta. This Pokemon has access to Brutal Swing as well, which is also to hit at least turn the Oranguru for some solid damage, which is one of the better answers for it. As well as you're going to be very good just generally neutrally in the current meta, as you have a very great typing here with Fire and Dragon, very nice defensively. It's a cool Pokemon to run, absolutely. We have Gyarados here as well, which is going to be a very nice neutral Pokemon. Bronzong, of course, you saw already. We have Dusclops available, which I actually haven't done a team with yet because I'm too scared of running a Ghost type. That is weak to Brutal Swing and Oranguru and an Oranguru meta. The thing is here for Dusclops, I feel like it's very nice neutrally against a lot of things, but I feel like Ghost type Pokemon are very tough to play in a meta where Oranguru is the best Pokemon, unless they have access to something that can kind of counter Oranguru. And this is, for example, the case with the Runerigas, which I'm mostly just might, yeah, it's at number 3 here, which is access to Brutal Swing, which then hits Oranguru for super effective damage, but it's like kind of back and forth, where you usually still lose as Runerigas, which you see as well. The worst matchup is actually the Oranguru, even though you can still hit it with super effective Brutal Swings. And like that's the thing here, just generally, like you see here for all of those Ghost types, Oranguru worst Pokemon to face. Here actually Fearow and Oranguru as Pokemon to face. And so the most common Pokemon is going to be just very, very strong against Ghost types. Same as like the next most common Pokemon with the Tornado. And this is just going to make it a bit more awkward. What you see here though as well is going to be Pokemon like Glalie apparently being very solid. I will say I doubt that Glalie is going to be that strong. I do think that other what's called here Ice type Pokemon are just stronger in this meta, like Dugong, like Celio. But also one of my most, like my hidden picks that I think is going to be very, very cool in this meta is actually a little bit further down. It's Everluck. Everluck has Ice Fang, which is kind of nice offensively against Pokemon like Runerigas as well as the Fearow, but has access to Crunch as well. And Crunch is great in the meta, being able to hit basically all of the weaknesses here as well, like Oranguru for super effective damage. You can hit the Bronzong for super effective damage if you have energy advantage, if you hit the Dusknoir for super effective damage, and you have Iceon to drop the attack of Pokemon. That's going to be something that we're going to have in the top team video as well. Other Pokemon that are worth mentioning here are, for example, as well the Fearow, as well as the Rufflet, which are going to be very, very strong. But this is not only it that we're just going to take a look at the meta here itself, which is going to be mainly like Ice type Pokemon, some Fire type Pokemon, a lot of normal type Pokemon, especially of course the Oranguru and the Tornado. And then somewhere further down, Westmacron is just good, basically just for Oranguru. Like you have like some other matchups that are cool as well, like which you're going to be able to beat as well, which are, I don't know, it's just general, like Drampa, I guess. I don't know, like against Gyarados, you have our Power Gem. Power Gem is actually a really good coverage move here. So Westmacron is mainly there for the Oranguru, that's basically it for this Pokemon. But it kind of drops down quite fast here, I would say. Like around like 40 mark, I wouldn't really go way further. Zoroark is actually high up here, which is kind of funny. I want to try this Pokemon out. But like those are all a little bit more tougher to run, I would say, in this meta. So what else I want to take a look at? I want to take a look at some teams that were successful already, or like some information towards the this meta here basically for the Show 6 Pick 3 format. This is going to be, of course, the meta for the LAIC. Here's going to be my brother actually played a practice tournament super early on in this meta, like literally at the beginning of the meta. And they got second with this team here, which you can kind of see already some of the trends that you're going to see most likely throughout this event, like this general cup as well. Here you see on the left side, by the way, Gyarados. I know it's not fully in there, but it's a Gyarados on the left side. But what you see here is mainly that I feel like Flydol Fearow is going to be a very good core as well in the GO Battle League to run. Why? Because Fearow is super fast and there's not really a lot of resistance against those, what's called the flying type damage. You don't really have any resistance there. And you have a lot of damage coming from this Pokemon and a lot of like, fast move pressure and charge pressure from it. The only way of really dealing with Fearow is offensively with the Ice type Pokemon in this meta, in my opinion. So I think that Fearow is really, really solid in this meta, just trying to hit everything neutrally and just being very, very strong offensively. And I think that's going to be some takeaway that I would give you here as well. Get yourself your Fearows ready. I think it's going to be something that's super important for this meta. Otherwise, Skellige here is, for example, one of those Pokemon that I think is going to be interesting, because I think Skellige has a lot of potential to sweep teams with Incinerate Torch Song. I think it's really, really cool to run. Claydol is just very good as coverage here, but this is a team, for example, that performed very well, getting 6 wins and 1 losses, only losing out against the world champion currently, Belzy Boy. So that is kind of a nice achievement there. It's a practice tournament against a lot of good players, so and again, there could be also still other teams that are going to perform it later on, but this is generally going to be the meta that we're going to have. Very important as well here from an Eloquence, we're going to see the just top usage here. You see on the left side a little bit, of course, not fully, and then we're going to have the Oranguru with 83%. This is going to be what you want to have. Oranguru is going to be super strong here out of 94 total teams as well. We're going to have 39% here on the left side as well. The Bronze, that's kind of a bit cut off, but it is what it is. I can actually change it here a little bit for this video, just know, here you go. Yeah, better on the screen now. We're going to have the Dugong as well as 49%, which I said before already. It's going to be a very solid Pokemon. There are a lot of Ice-type Pokemon that can fit this slot of Dugong, by the way. Dugong is mostly the best one because you have also the ground-type coverage that you kind of want to have, that the Walrein also would have, but Dugong is just having the defense and the drop there of the attacks there as well, which is kind of cool. It's more defensive than other Ice-type Pokemon. So I do think that also for the GO Battle League, the top 3 Pokemon here going to be very important. I think Gyarados maybe not as important though. I think it's still a very good Pokemon and have some teams built towards this Pokemon as well. But like basically what you see here is kind of what you can expect. Like those are the Pokemon that you're going to have to face in the GO Battle League as well. Those are going to be the Pokemon that are most common there used. And yeah, generally speaking, I think this is going to be an interesting meta. I think it's going to be a meta where you need a lot of Pokemon that you usually wouldn't see in the GO Battle League, which is cool in one part and very bad for the other part there. I might just make a video towards like a very cheap good team or something like this. Mostly it includes Oranguru there as well because Oranguru is so broken. I think still Oranguru is a cheap Pokemon to build. Like 50k Stardust for the unlock is alright, I feel like. So yeah, this Pokemon is still very, very solid. But what we also have here is a meta guide. This is of course not in English here as well, but it just shows again what we kind of can expect here. You see on the side there as well, please, here the username of this yeah, ex-user who kind of made a little bit of a graphic here. Thanks for that as well. We're going to see here kind of what we're going to have to deal with. We have ghost types, which just Oranguru basically, and like the psychic type here. The Oranguru is just going to be super, super common, very, very strong. We have the dragon type kind of category on the right side. We have the ice types. We have the fire types. It's kind of on how the meta is going to shift around. You have basically Claydol here in order to counter the fire, as well as like the few steel type Pokemon that are going to be very solid. Just going to be also resisting, of course, the fast move of the Oranguru, even though the charge was a bit of a problem. And ice types are mainly here to hit the dragons, are mainly here to have great coverage, like you have, for example, just with the Everlock with Crunch, for example, or like the ground type coverage from the Dugong as well as the Walrein. It's going to be quite important for the steel type and the fire type Pokemon here as well. So like those are going to be very, very solid. Then you have like the ghost types that are more like the neutral Pokemon that you can run. I do think that the ghost type Pokemon are not going to have as much of a play in this meta. I think they're going to be still there, don't get me wrong, like they're still going to have play in terms of you can play those Pokemon, but I do think that those are going to be less common than most of the rest of this here. I think it's mainly going to be what you see on the left side, the ice type Pokemon and the dragon type Pokemon. That's what I think is going to be the main kind of meta which you're going to see. Of course, you're going to see the odd, I don't know, like Tornado, which is also part dragon to be fair. You're going to see the odd ghost type Pokemon, but I think it's going to focus more towards like the Pokemon that you see more on the bottom left and on the right side. And yeah, here is kind of what are the counters for like those kind of different kind of types. Here for the Oranguru, you really, like, the point that the Oranguru has its own kind of section here kind of showcases already on how important it is to counter this thing. They are not really the best counters for it though. Like there's no real hard counter other than like really Respicum in my opinion. As everything else, you're going to be able to hit super effective style with the Oranguru with energy. We have the ghost type counters where Oranguru is on as well. We have the psych type counters where, yeah, honestly Oranguru is not part really of the psych type group there because against most something you can deal with. Also Gyarados, by the way, really cool because of crunch coverage, which I forgot to say as well towards Oranguru, so I think that's why I think Gyarados is very good as well. We have the Dragon type counter, where I feel like Everlock is again a very cool Pokemon. We have the Ice type counter, we have some Fighting type Pokemon available as well. I'm curious on how good Annihilate could be. Could be actually an interesting Pokemon still. Completely forgot that this Pokemon exists in this one. Because it is not highly ranked at all because of what the meta is currently. Then we have the Fire type Answer, which is mainly like the Dragon type Pokemon in this kind of case. So yeah, this is going to be it for the meta for the LAIC. Let me know down below what you are excited to play there. Are you looking at a certain Pokemon that you want to try out? Let me know down below. But otherwise, there's going to be a top team video for this tomorrow. Check it out. Stay tuned for this. And I want to try to do some test battles as well for the Tuesday. So yeah, see you then. Hopefully, I see you in the next video. Bye bye.